In a culture that tells us we can choose motherhood or, Good Counsel knows we're meant for motherhood and. Hi, I'm Samantha Elbertson. I work on behalf of the maternity home Good Counsel. We have 4 homes in New York and New Jersey where motherhood is rescued, preserved, and celebrated every day. This is Motherhood and. Hi, Elissa. I'm so glad you're able to spend time with me today.
Hi, thanks for having me on, Sam.
So I'm really excited to talk with you. I am a big fan of Catholic Family Crate. I have been using it for probably as long as you've been doing it with my oldest son and then all of my kiddos. It's also helped catechize me uh, way better, deepening my faith. And so I'm forever grateful for what you do. I'd love to start with maybe your backstory, tell our listeners a little bit about who you are and how you came into um, this mission and small business.
Yeah. So I guess first I'll tell everybody kind of a brief pitch of what we do. So we run a monthly subscription box that makes it easy for families to learn about the faith together and live the liturgical year of the church together. And through that, we also um, sell a lot of kids' educational products. Individually, we're on Amazon with some of our products and on our website as well. But it all started 6 years ago. I was born and raised Catholic, and then I had my own children, and I had moved to this really vibrant parish. And I started meeting these moms that were like teaching their kids about the saints and celebrating all the liturgical seasons. And I honestly felt like they were speaking a different language. Like I just
Mm.
didn't even know what they were talking about. I had gone to Catholic schools through 8th grade, and um, I knew the saints like of the school that, was named after, but that was really about it. And I knew that there was Advent and I knew that there was Lent, but I didn't really understand like there was the season of Christmas that was different than Advent, and then that Easter was more than just a day, and you know all those kind of things. And so I was, overwhelmed trying to figure out all this stuff alongside like wanting to teach my kids. And I just felt
Mhm.
like, wow, this is really overwhelming. And so it all kind of started like when I would have some spare time, I would spend some time Googling, like, what are things I can do with my kids in the month of January? And then I would, back then it was like you could print this coloring page on Pinterest and you could find this recipe on this blog. And it was just all very scattered and very overwhelming. And so I kind of created a Google Drive document where I organized everything. And I started sharing it with my friends who were having similar, struggles. And my sister at the same time had moved to Steubenville, Ohio, where Franciscan University is, and she was having a similar experience where she's like, I don't even know what these ladies are talking about. Like, they are so Catholic, and I just am so lost. And so we were talking about like, how do we kind of do this in a way that fits into what already feels really overwhelming, which is raising small kids. Um, and so I was like talking to her one day and I said, it would just be so nice if like it just got delivered, if there's like a company that just delivered everything to your door every month. And she was like, oh, like a Catholic subscription box. And I had never heard of subscription boxes at all. I'm not a big shopper or anything. And so she started explaining that, oh, there's wine club of the month. There's shaving, you can get shaving stuff delivered to you every month. There's stuff for everything. I'm sure there's a Catholic option. So I hung up the phone like, great, I'm going to find it. I'm going to order it for me. You can order it for you. It'll be great. And I Googled it and nothing came up. And then like a couple months later, I'm like, surely someone has started a Catholic subscription box. Nothing came up. Anyways, this went on like for a while. And then finally I felt like, okay, God, I get it. Like you want me to start this. Um, and so from the very beginning, because like I said, I am trying to figure this out myself, I hired a theologian, I hired writers, I hired like the people that would be able to bring their expertise into this because I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I need this for my family, you know? And with the help of two friends of mine that are Catholic Montessori teachers. And so we all just kind of like sat down and brainstormed stuff and we started these boxes. My initial plan was that I was going to source products from other companies and just bring them together to make like the mom's prep easy and be like, look, here's a beautiful book. It's been vetted by our theologian. You can trust that it's true to the teachings of the church. Here's a toy, blah, 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 blah. Anyways, but then every time I would design a box, there would be things that I couldn't find. Like I remember the first time we did a Lent box and I wanted like Stations of the Cross to go up in my home.
Mhm.
And at that time, there was nothing. Like it was literally like you're spending thousands and thousands of dollars getting like, church Stations of the Cross. And I was like, well, I don't have the budget for that. And I didn't want them up all year long, right? I just wanted something affordable to put up during Lent. Or they had like classroom size cartoon art, like posters, but they were like a 9 by 12 poster of each station. And it looked like a classroom bulletin board, right? And I'm like,
Right.
this is a home. Like, I want it needs to be small so that it can go in like, you know, a home space. And it needs to be like something that's appealing to the kids, but also like beautiful for the parents and not like, like we love Brother Francis. I don't want Brother Francis art up in my home, like he
Right.
has a special place on the TV and in kids' coloring books. Um, and so I hired an artist to do Stations of the Cross. And every month I would send, we were quarterly at the beginning actually. So every time I'd send a box, I would send surveys of what people's favorite things were just to figure out what people wanted and what was helpful and what wasn't. And every time it was the stuff that we were creating. And so eventually, and it was really difficult because there weren't a lot of Catholic companies doing much. So I was having a hard time finding products. I was also having a hard time, like I would have to call, these little Etsy shops and be like, hey, I need to order 500 of these. And these sweet moms were like hand painting peg dolls in their basements after their kids went to bed. Like they can't do 500 of them. So quickly it was like, okay, I guess we have to start making all of our own content. And so we switched to that fairly quickly. And I always laugh because I'm like, if I would have known that this is what I was signing up to do, I would have never said yes. But God, like, you know, asks us to say yes in these tiny ways. And then, like, I feel like the same with kids, right? You're like, yes, God, I will have one child. And then all of a sudden you're like, where did 4 children come from, God? Like, I did not sign up for all these kids. But you just kind of keep saying yes. And then you look back and you're like, wow, that is
That was a
totally
lot.
different than what I thought I was getting into in the beginning.
Absolutely.
So now we create all of our own content. Our subscription boxes are still a big part of our business, but we do sell all of our products or most of our products individually as well. We're in Catholic gift shops, and I'm just really on a mission to like revolutionize educational materials for Catholics. And when I first started, I would go to Barnes and Noble, and I was like, why is our stuff so bad? Like,
So bad.
it
Yeah.
was just print. It looked like it was printed on a home printer, and somebody had laminated it and like cut it out and bound it themselves, right? And I would go to Barnes and Noble, or I had this really cute Protestant neighbor, and she had like all this cute stuff for her kids. And I was
Mhm.
like kind of embarrassed of the options that were available to me. And a lot has changed, praise the Lord. But I just really wanted my kids to have like Catholic stuff that felt as cool as like what they would find in the secular world. Because we have the beauty and we should like
Yes.
have it on nice paper and high quality boxes and stuff like that.
And modern applications. I mean,
Right.
not just prayer cards and pamphlets and books, but like you said,
Exactly.
this is it, my whole idea when I was raising kids, and then knowing that I was not catechized fully. I grew up Catholic, but I didn't know everything about the faith. But much like you said, I look around and I was like, oh, there's that family in the front row who has like 9 kids, and like they know everything. And, like, and they're well behaved. What am I doing? Like, I need to
Yeah.
know what
Right.
they're
Yeah.
doing.
Can I
And
just
then,
have one of those kids come
yeah,
live with me and
just
help
just train
my
me
children?
for a while. I
That's how
did.
I
I
felt.
actually asked if their oldest would be like a nanny helper kind of thing. Because I was like, there's something going on correct here. But
Yeah.
like you said, it was homeschooling moms making peg dolls, like just creating everything from scratch from the craft store. And that also didn't appeal to me because I just didn't have the time for all of that. Because I was working from home, and anyway, so when your stuff came along, I was like, this is it. Because I've been a graphic designer for 20 years. And so working in design and seeing the poor quality of items out there, I was like, this isn't engaging for me. This isn't
Yes.
engaging for my kids. And I wanted to just saturate their environment with all that is good, true, and beautiful. And so your your box came along, and I can't remember. I think I was looking something in the same day. I was like, there has to be something Catholic. We have like this box for STEM stuff. We have this, all the things, these arts and crafts box. There has to be a Catholic one. And luckily I did find one. It was
Yes. Yeah.
yours.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, that's so
so
good. We actually have a lot of graphic designers that are subscribers,
yeah,
and they're just like, "Thank you.
yeah.
Like, thank you. I just love the font, and I love that it's formatted correctly." I'm like, "You're welcome.
Just even
You're
the color
welcome."
palette. It's not something that like you said, it's not something that is too childish. It absolutely appeals to kids, but it's cool and lovely. And so I have it up in my house like as art.
Yeah.
I think it's the Names of Mary. So it's a poster
Mhm.
from one of the boxes, and it's I think it's like, I want to say
9
10 or
different
12, nine,
images
nine,
of
yeah, the
Mary,
9
yeah.
different illustrations. And it's just a fun thing. And when people come in and out of my house, they stop and they read the different names of Mary, and and we have the Memorare prayer next to it. But like, it's so beautiful, especially the prayers. The
Yeah.
prayers and the way that they're formatted are just lovely little pieces of art that we have all over the house.
Oh, thank you. And that was really my intention, right? Because we talked about things like Brother Francis and all that kind of stuff. And like I, with the kids, it's like my daughter loves Fancy Nancy books. And
Mhm.
I hate reading Fancy Nancy. I'm just like not good literature, Like I will read it, but I'm like, okay, I will read like Jan Brett or Tommy DePaula all day long
Tommy
because
DePaolo,
the
yes.
art is beautiful and the writing is for children, but like it is engaging for me. And so that was really like what we tried to strike with both the writing and the art is that it's something that is engaging for kids, but not like cartoonish or like off-putting to adults.
Right.
And same with the writing. Like we didn't want it to be so like dumbed down that parents would be like, I don't even want to read this. We really tried to strike a balance of like it is a catechesis tool for the whole family. Um, and we didn't want it to feel like, oh, you have to be that family with 9 kids who knows everything to get something out of our
Right.
boxes. Um, but also that if you are that family with the 9 kids, you might learn something new too. So
Hmm.
it was nice to just like strike this. It was hard, but I think we've, really tried hard to strike this balance of like it being really enjoyable for the whole family, like you said.
Yeah, it's we have things that are also passed down. So the magnets of Our Lady of Fatima, and you have the sun that you can make it move. I mean, that's lived on my fridge through from my oldest is 11, my youngest is 2 playing with it now. And so, and then on the Feast of Our Lady of Fatima, they chase each other around with the sun. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's that kind of thing that you can give to your kids and let them run with it, but you kind of want to be part of it too. Like it's like you said, it's
Mhm.
engaging for the adults as well. The books, there was a book in one of the early, I think it was one of your first Easter boxes, and it was like all stained glass and the whole,
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
the Fiona French books. She has a
yes,
couple. They're really beautiful. Yeah.
gorgeous, gorgeous. I bring it out. That's our Easter. Like we bring it out every Easter because it does walk through the stations of the cross, his whole, passion to
Hmm.
Easter. So but I had never found anything like that. So your curation of things in the beginning really, it was really excellent. And now all of your those big posters too. The big posters have been really fun. The fold out, like the one on iconograph on icons, making it,
Oh yes,
yeah,
right.
those have
Yeah.
been really fun because they'll just, I'll
I
say just
have
go
the
grab a
Advent one
poster.
here
Oh,
actually.
good.
They're like these huge.
It's kind
What
of
are they?
whited
They're
out. Can you
like
bring it closer?
what?
Can you bring it? There we go. Yeah.
So they're like these, they fold up, mm, and then it's like this massive activity sheet. Let me see. So on one, they're like two
There you
feet
go.
by 1.5 feet. And so it has this massive coloring sheet with like, my kids get these out. They just had them out yesterday. They get them out and work on them. Like we just have a bin where they all are and they just like
Mm-hmm.
work on them.
Lay on the floor
Yeah.
and
There's all kinds of different things. I think we have eight different options right now of these. We just got the Advent ones back in stock for Advent, so those are super fun.
we I was really excited when you branched out to selling things outside of the subscription crates because I recommend the mass ring, and I got that in a crate. I recommend the mass ring to everyone I know. Um, it's for anyone who does it. So I'm talking to you like I'm just having a conversation with you, but we should probably explain what some of these things are.
Right.
Yeah, so there's several different prayer rings that you have, and the mass
Hmm.
ring is my favorite because it goes through the parts of the mass, and it's good, it's useful for all ages. So my 2-year-old currently uses it, but that's how my 11-year-old, my 9-year-old, and my 7-year-old all learned the mass. But it was like answered that great question of, are we done yet? When you have kids who are itching and not totally understanding or
Yes.
engaged with the mass, they're wondering what part is it, and you can, if they're flipping in their book, then they just show you and you're like, yeah, that's the part. Like just keep flipping,
Right.
and they'll get excited if they see just a couple. But
Yep.
now now they know what the parts are coming up and anticipating that, and it really, and now my older two are boys and my younger two are girls. So my boys are altar serving, so like now they're just in the mass, which is fantastic.
Yes.
But my daughter makes her first Holy Communion this year, and so she's
Oh,
paying better attention. But my 2-year-old, the new version, because we have the old version that's darker black with some color in
yeah.
it, the new version that has the Eucharist and the chalice on it, she holds it up at the consecration, and she'll even say, "Body Christ."
Oh, so cute.
It's so incredibly precious, and they have the tools to make our faith and the beauty of our faith just a reality in their young lives. Something that
Hmm.
when I was growing up, it was like, you'll understand when you're older, and it didn't feel like
Right.
it was for me. And so that's truly great. Do you want to talk a little bit about your motto, or I'm not sure what it is, but the becoming saints, raising saints?
Yeah, so our motto is becoming saints, raising saints, and our patron saints are Saints Louis and Zelly Martin.
Amen.
And if you're not familiar with them, they are the parents of Saint Therese of Lisieux. They had, I think, 9 children,
Yeah.
5 of which made it to adulthood. All of them became nuns,
Mhm.
and one of them was Saint Therese of Lisieux. And so I just really felt like they embodied like what we were trying to do because we're trying to raise saints, but we're also trying to become saints. And I do think that, there is a big push, I feel like, to like raise saints, raise saints, raise saints, while we're like not focusing on ourselves too,
Right.
And so I
Yeah.
just really felt like I loved that tagline because it was like, no, 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 like we need to become saints as we're also raising saints
Mm.
as well. And so yeah, we picked it a long, long time ago, but it really has fit with kind of our mission for like the whole family catechesis, right? And I think, most parents don't realize that they're getting catechized too with it. It's like a sneak
Hmm.
catechesis, but they are. And I was going to say on the parts of the mass ring, it was funny. I heard from someone a couple months ago, a grown man who was considering entering the church, who like went to his first mass and took our parts of the mass ring and
Why
like
not?
that
It's
and
so
like
helpful.
read through it. And he was like, it was so helpful because he said, that when he got to the church, they said, oh, just follow along, you know, um, with the book and the pew, and it'll explain everything. And he was like, it did not explain everything. It left a lot of gaps. It told me what to say, but it didn't really like tell me what was going on. Anyway, so he entered the church. But I just thought that was so cool to like imagine like a grown man sitting there with our parts of the mass cards
Yeah,
going
it's like
through
Cliff's
and
Notes for the mass.
yeah, and he said I sat at the very
Right.
back. I didn't know like they were standing and kneeling and everything, and I just sat there. Like I just sat. I took it all in and I just like read what was happening at each part. And anyways, it was really
That's
cool.
so
Yeah.
beautiful. That's so
Yeah.
beautiful. I have my goddaughter and her two sisters were entering the church. They're in sixth grade and eighth grade, and so they were entering the church just make they were baptized, but they were making their first Holy Communion a little bit later
Yeah.
and going through RCIC. And so I got my goddaughter a subscription to your crate too because I thought I know so the broad the age range I think you have on your website says about 12, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, up to 12. But like you're explaining, it catechizes adults along with it. And she finds and anyway, so she finds so many things that are it's interesting to see what she picks out from the box that resonate with her. And then she'll come over and she'll be like, oh, does Joanna want this puzzle? And but there's certain things that like still hold true.
Right.
So anything having to do with the rosary, and then anything she loves the saint story, so the saint cards, the any of just learning deeper about any of the saints, which is a lot of what you do. But the and now I'm rambling again.
No, you're not. But
Sorry. It's interesting to see what she picks out because she's nearing 12, and what she's able to then the whole family kind of catches on, but they have the mass ring and I think there's 27 prayers in the my
mhm.
favorite prayer ring. They're right by their door, kind of like grab them as you go out, remember them as as you're
Oh,
coming in and out. They're right with their keys. And so it's been cool to see how their families kind of adopted all of the little pieces because they're kind of all
oh,
like
that's
they're all
cool.
Catholic, but they're like just finding that moment, that deeper conversion moment. And so
Right.
it's really beautiful to see.
And yeah, we say it is interesting with the age because when you're making a box for Catholic families, it is challenging because Catholic families come in a lot of different sizes and age ranges and stuff like that. So we do include crafts and things like that. So that's why we say like 3 to 12. But
Mhm.
I always say like as long as you have one person in your house from 3 to 12, like we have this one subscriber, she has 6 kids from like college down to like 5. And like her teenagers and a college student, like they come and like sneak things out of the box to like put in their
Yeah.
rooms and stuff like that. Like they might not be doing the crafts, but they find other things that they really like. And so when her daughter moved off to college, she was like, her dorm room is like decked out in Catholic family crate stuff. And I'm just so happy that that's what like an 18-year-old picked to like put up in her dorm room.
Yeah.
Um, And so it is really cool. And I always say, like, it's funny because there's a variety of different elements that come every month. And some families, their favorite thing is the Spotify playlist. And I'm like,
Mm.
okay, you're spending 39.99 a month, uh, and that's like your main thing. But I always say, like, even if one thing just really speaks to your family, it's like worth it. And that's why we sent a variety,
Mm.
because like the virtue chat table toppers are a huge hit for a lot of people. And they're literally just like one of those paper table toppers that you would see like drink specials on
Mhm.
at a restaurant or something. But it has a virtue for the month, and it has a Bible verse that goes along with that virtue. And then on the other side, it talks about the virtue and has some discussion questions and stuff like that. And when I first started, my children were so little that I was just like didn't get the point of why people loved this so much. But our
Mm.
writer had older kids, and she really felt like this is a really good thing to do. And now that my kids are older, I'm like, okay, I see. For years it wasn't beneficial to me. I just filed them away in a
Mm.
folder, and I was like, maybe we'll get to these later. So it's like it does evolve and change as your kids grow and stuff, but it's just like this nice reminder that you can put on the table that's like, we are a family that is growing in virtue together. And whether or not you talk about it every day is fine, but it's just like this kind of reminder of like, we care about virtues, and we're gonna
Yeah.
try.
Yeah, like I had mentioned before, I wanted to saturate their environment. I felt like so much of what was wrong or what we were seeing that I didn't want for my kids was because their environment in the culture was saturated with things that weren't true, good, or beautiful. And so I wanted to make our home like an oasis and have like Catholic art. I didn't have any money to buy like real nice things, statues, and all,
Right.
but we did the best we could. And so when we found, when we found Catholic Family Crate, we were able to do that affordably and seasonally and learn more. And then there's this idea that I know is maybe more widely discussed among homeschool families, but the language that's downloading is downloading from the womb. So if in your home you are talking about the virtues, or even say, just even using that grammar, it just again as another way of saturating their environment, so that when they are older, they're able to use the names of the virtues. They already understand what they are, and that just feels like the biggest head start that I
Right.
can think of just even really having an understanding of the fullness of the faith. Even understanding how full it is a head start, because I had no idea the depth. Because like you said, I
Right.
would go to mass and I would read the missal and read the words. So I knew how to do that, but did I know what they mean? No.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that was such a gap. Do you want to talk anything? Do you want to talk about anything about what it means to have a domestic church and why people should focus on the domestic church? I'm not sure everybody does, and I think it's like the key to like the raising saints.
Yeah, so I mean, basically we all have um a domestic church, and the church has asked us to make our homes like a version of the church in our home. And the church follows a liturgical year, which basically takes us through the life of Christ. And there's various feast days throughout the year and all that kind of stuff. But so we're called to emulate that in our home. But I always like to remind people that, first and foremost, like the primary way that we can live the liturgical year is by attending mass on Sundays and holy days of obligation. And that even if you're just doing that, you really are living the liturgical year. Um, and so you and I were living the liturgical year as kids. Our parents just didn't have the words to tell
The
us what was
words.
happening.
Yeah.
So we really, if we're going to Mass faithfully as Catholics, we are living the liturgical year. And so we just try to provide, extra ways for people who want to go deeper. and in a way that's easy. But yeah, essentially it's just following the life of Christ and celebrating feast days are, well, there's a variety of different ones. The ones that are based on the saints' lives, it's typically the day that they died, and we celebrate that day because it is the greatest day because it is the day that they went to heaven. And it was actually cool because we were in Nashville for a baptism of my goddaughter, and this last Easter we got to go see the Dominican sisters at the St. Cecilia Mother House. And I love a good convent and I love a good convent cemetery. I love that it's like all right there. And it's just like you come in, you get old there, you die there, and then you're buried right outside. It's just like this reminder of like our death is imminent and like
Mm.
here is the cemetery right here. And I noticed they didn't put the birthdays on of the sisters. It's just the day they died. And I asked why, and they said like, well, because that's like really the day that's special. Um, and so I just thought that was really cool. So, anyways, and there's Marian feast days. There's all kinds of you can celebrate something every single day pretty much. So we just kind of help families to focus on, okay, we know it's not realistic for most families to do something every single day.
Mhm,
So we just kind of help them focus on two a month
mhm,
is our goal. And then people like you who have been around for a long time, people like me, like now I have a collection of things. This is the other thing, I'm a minimalist. Like we've lived in tiny homes, like we have really few possessions. And so I'm trying to make sure things are as flat as possible.
for
And so
storage.
then a
Yes.
lot is consumable. A lot is something that's like, okay, you do it and then you just it's done and your kids have that memory and then you toss it. But anyways, I keep all my stuff in just like a 1 foot by 1 foot file box. And I just have a folder for every month and then a folder for every liturgical season. And they just
Mhm,
kind of fit in there. So then, when November rolls around, I can pull out all the things we have from past Novembers, add to it what we got from this November. But I always recommend people start if they want to build their domestic church and they want to live the liturgical year by just stopping and seeing what are they doing in their current lives that already align with the liturgical year. So there are 6 main liturgical seasons. Our liturgical year actually starts with Advent. So we start the church year before the like new calendar year starts. So it starts with Advent and then it goes to Christmas. And then we have a small amount of ordinary time. And then we have Lent, and then the Triduum with its own liturgical season, even though it's just a couple hours, really. Um, and then we have a long period of ordinary time. So even though ordinary time is split up to two, it's technically considered one season.
mhm,
Anyways, so we have actually a free download that's really helpful that will walk people through building a Catholic culture at home. And it's super actionable. It's not overwhelming. And I basically just kind of outline the steps to take and give suggestions of like how you can start doing this in your home. And my advice is always like to keep it super simple. Like just add one thing a season. And then like when that becomes just part of your family culture, then like you could add something else, but like it does not need to be like this all out like
mhm.
let's go crazy. And it could be as simple as like just picking music to play in your car that relates to that season. um and I all it's funny because someone asked me to come talk, and they said, well, what can you talk about? And I gave them, this is what I typically talk about, blah, 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 blah. I said, oh, well, our group is a group of older people. They don't have kids at home. And I said, the domestic church and the liturgical year is for all of us. It is not
Right.
something that you just do when you have little kids at home. It really is for everyone, and it's something that we're called to do forever, whether you're widowed or single in your dorm room, like it doesn't matter your age. And really, I think single people before they have kids, before they have families, is a great time to start building up these
Mhm.
traditions, because then if they do have children, then those traditions are just like already set, and they're not like
Mhm.
floundering like you or I trying to like
What do we do?
figure out how to do these things when you have a 4-year-old who like is starting to pay attention, you know? Um,
Mm.
so yeah, it really is for everyone, and that download has some great options for people. And like at our church, the Altar and Rosary Society is mainly older women, and they do this like Advent craft workshop, and it is such a gift because they have the time to do these
Mm.
kinds of things, and the young moms typically don't. And so you know, I there's a lot of grandmas that are like, they're the ones that are getting the subscription box, or they're the ones that are adding these traditions. And that's such a gift to your grandkids or to the kids in your community, because you often have more time than the young moms that are just trying to keep up with the
Yeah.
dishes and the laundry and stuff like that. So even just thinking like, what are ways that I can like help serve my community and live the liturgical year in my home. So, but our secular lives really have a lot of still traditions and culture from the church year.
Mhm.
So I always say, like, stop and think about what you're already doing. You might need to like shift when you're doing it, right? So, like, for us, it's like, really making Advent more similar to Lent, where it's just a time of preparation. It's really quiet, it's really peaceful, it's very prayerful. And then, like, we always make Christmas cookies. Well, growing up, we did that during Advent. So now I just kind
Right.
of shifted it to be like, okay, I'm going to do that like in the Christmas season,
Mhm.
and these fun movies that we watched as kids, like, okay, we're going to do that, but we're going to do it in the Christmas season, or looking at
Right.
Christmas lights. I mean, there's some things that are tricky because everybody stops them like on December 25th,
Right.
but anything that we can control, I just kind of am like, all right, we're going to shift it so that that time of Christmas feels very celebratory to the kids. And it is nice because you go to Michael's and Walmart and Hobby Lobby, and everything is super cheap on December 26th. You can get
That's
the
right.
gingerbread like house decorating kit for like 50% off,
Mhm.
and you can do it on January 3rd or
That's right.
whatever. Same with Easter. So really just like, taking the things that you already do and maybe consider moving them out of Lent and moving them into the season of Easter. Like some people just they keep fresh flowers in their house all through the season of Easter. And it's just something that everybody knows is special. You don't have to have
Mhm.
kids to have fresh flowers in your
No.
house.
No.
Um, we try to do like we've done some years where we do like an Easter egg hunt every Sunday of Easter.
Oh,
And like
wow.
they don't even need stuff in the eggs. Like they just want you to hide eggs and they go hunt for them, right? It doesn't have to be like,
You are absolutely right. The kids, our culture has got to a fever pitch with what they think kids need, and bigger and exciting and better. It just the simplest things and the simplest traditions. There's many things I love about your crate, but one of the best things has been celebrating the saints on their feast days. So having even the little cupcake toothpicks that have, the Ascension or
yeah,
the stickers that go on them for any Marian feast days, because we have ones that are maybe for the Assumption, but we use them anytime,
right.
at any Marian feast day. So because of that, I think there was a piece of advice that you gave, or it was in the crate, that it said, you don't have to also celebrate all of these feast days on the feast day. So you got the St. Francis kit and you have this pot and seeds and you're going to grow this, the little face of St. Francis on this pot. And if you don't get to it, so choose another day to talk about St. Francis and do it then. It doesn't have to be rushed. And I think
Right.
that's the beautiful thing about when you actually look at the church's calendar. The liturgical seasons are not rushed. And secularly, we rush right into Christmas. We rush through everything and then it's done in a minute. But really, we marinate in a holiday. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
we sit there and we spend the time. And so I think it's really, really beautiful. That shift feels maybe a little off, or, breaking from any of your traditions feels really off, but you're actually getting back so much time. And it's not, oh my goodness, we didn't get to see all the lights and those, the special things and the gingerbread. There's so much to do for Christmas, and you actually do have all that time to do it, not fitting it in the days leading
Yes.
up. And so
Well, and
I
December is
got I got
always
time back.
crazy,
Right.
So that's what I was talking to a mom the other day who's brand new to all this idea, and she was like, "Okay, explain it to me." And she was like, "Actually, this sounds so nice because the
So
kids'
nice.
stuff is so busy in December with like end of school year stuff and
Mhm.
plays and all that kind of stuff that then trying to fit in all the Christmas traditions was like really stressful." And I was like, "Yeah, like but if you really follow the church year, like that is like a time of quiet in your home. And so you can deal with the hustle and bustle of all that stuff and then come home in your home, be like, okay, this is quiet. And then in that lull where a lot of people have off work and school, like the secular world has nothing to do from, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
Christmas to New Year's. And that's when we can be like, okay, the whole world has shut down. And now we have time to like
Let's celebrate.
to
Yeah.
celebrate, and
Yeah.
it is really nice. And even like, I we spread out our gifts is what we kind of do. And I know like in Spain and a couple other countries, they do their Christmas gifts come on Epiphany. So like
Mm.
Jesus got his
Yeah.
gifts and that's when they get their gifts and stuff like that. And so it's just like it takes you out of that rat race of like the shipping is delayed and like,
Yes.
I have to get everything ordered by the USPS cutoff day of December 15th. And then like, I'm stressed out that my packages haven't come. It's like, no, like as
Even
Catholics,
financially, the burden of all of that
right.
happening at the same time is too much. Like, you can spread it out.
Right, you can spread it out. It's fine. And like my kids actually love it because then the days that they open something, they open one thing and they get to like sit with that one thing instead of having a pile of presents and then like one of the presents stands out and the rest just get
Hmm.
forgotten. It's like
Hmm.
they'll get a new whatever Lego set and then that whole day they're like engaged with that Lego set. You know what? I don't always try to give them like a present for every 12 days. And sometimes it's literally like, here are new markers. Like, you guys needed
Yeah.
new markers, and it might be something as simple as new markers, or I've wrapped up the gingerbread house kits
Yes.
before of like, this is going to be our family activity. And so y'all are going to just unwrap it. I mean, you could wrap up a library book, and just be like, okay, we're going to read this Christmas book together as a family today, or a movie from the library, or a box of hot chocolate mix, or
Hmm.
or something. But really,
Yeah.
just taking that time to spread out the joy of Christmas and yeah, and Easter is so hard for me because it's so long. I'm like 50 days, really? Like did whoever picked this, did they like have children? Were they a mom that is supposed to celebrate for 50 days?
In
So,
our house, we try to do, this is an idea that stemmed from the, you know, the, the cupcake toppers and the different things that kind of accompany a dessert or a celebration for a feast day. So now they have that, the churches will give out their calendar at the beginning of the year. And so you get that new calendar, and whatever saint's day is on it, they have to check to see if it's a saint's day, because then they get dessert. It doesn't always have to be a special dessert. Like sometimes it's
Right.
Divine Mercy Sundays and they're really cool ice cream desserts. And
Right.
sometimes it's like, yeah, there's just something, I don't know, we have peanut butter and chocolate chips and apples or something, but like you get dessert on a feast day and you don't if it's not.
It's a
And
lot of
so
dessert. You're a very
it's
generous mom.
it's a lot of dessert, but like they would ask for something small dessert wise after dinner anyway.
Right.
Most people, secularly anyway, it's like you have dinner and what's for dessert, what's for, and so for us, I was able to say, okay, well, we don't have dessert this day, because I go check the calendar. So they go running and check the calendar every night. They yell out, Saint Isidore, pray for us, and then they get something to eat,
Oh, I love that.
something sweet. And so now they also, in the rhythm of their, formation, something sweet, a treat, a happy, joyful moment is the lives of is, coupled with the
Yeah.
lives of the saints. And so in that, we're able to do big celebrations and little celebrations. And sometimes I forget and we make things up. I
Well,
forget,
I
like
just
we
think it's so interesting that like historically everybody just knew the church year. So like
yeah.
my husband's been reading a lot. We grew up in Texas. We live in Colorado now, but he's been reading a lot of different books about the history of Texas just randomly. And it's like a lot like these towns, San Antonio, right? It's because when
Mhm.
they found San Antonio, it was on the feast of Saint Anthony. And they just knew that. Like they knew
Mhm.
like that day was the feast of Saint Anthony. And just like it was just so rooted in just like their rhythm that that was like how they kept track of time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just like we have gotten so far away from that.
The struggle with Sundays is even become a bigger problem. We teach over at our parish the First Holy Communion class, and the sports that come into it, and the
Mhm.
parents who have issues with sports and they don't line up, and so then they're choosing whether they go to CCD or mass. We're like, no, please go to mass. It has become, it used to be that Sundays, the whole world knew that even if you weren't going to church, it was the day set
Yeah,
aside for church, for prayerful reflection, for calmness, for spending time with your family. And now even Sundays are travel sports, and just everything is encroaching upon that. So even that natural rhythm of our society, I feel, is being pushed out. And it's really a struggle. And some of the Protestant denominations have kind of combat that with like Tuesday night worship, or so then they're spreading it throughout the week. So then even Catholics, especially in South Carolina, um, in the Bible Belt, it's like it was like, well, we don't go to church on Sundays, we go to church on Tuesdays. And we're like, no, wait,
oh,
what?
interesting.
Yeah, because um Protestant churches around us have made it so that, a Tuesday night is the same as a Sunday morning. So you can go to either or and still get God in your week. They'll make it like a teen worship night. And so that counts as their worship. There's a lot of that. And so even coming through certain sacraments and stuff, you're kind of combating, especially in with teens, or preteens going in for their confirmation. I mean, their sports, you know, they're traveling over full weekends for some of these sports, and they're just
Right.
away. And so we're finding a lot, that's a big struggle, is keeping families on that rhythm, and keeping some of those sports and other obligations at bay. Like
Yeah.
there's that
There was this
idea of
story, the
commitment.
movie, I think Chariots of Fire or something. I haven't seen it
Yes.
yet, but I was just reading the story. Have you seen it?
Yeah, it's very old.
Okay. So the premise, I don't think he was Catholic. I think he was a Christian guy, right?
I think they're
And
Catholic.
oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, you're talking about charity. Let me look up when it
The
was, but like this was like,
Olympian.
yeah,
The Olympian?
yeah, it's
Okay, so I think it
it's
was
a
like in the
family favorite.
1920s or something. And sorry, I'm like totally people probably know all about this and I'm just going to butcher it, but the premise of it was that his Olympic event was going to be on a Sunday. and he said, "I cannot participate." And they all were like, "Well, then you're gonna miss your Olympic event and you're an idiot." And he just like really stuck with it. And he ended up participating in a different event that he had not trained for, that was on a different day, and he won the gold medal, right? Is that right? Am I butchering this,
Yeah.
Sam?
I mean,
And now I think it's so funny because it's like 5-year-olds are playing soccer on Sunday. Like, how did we
right?
get so far away from that, that somebody was willing to, like, risk his Olympic gold medal to keep holy Sundays, and now it's like our 5-year-olds need to play soccer on Sundays.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I don't
I don't
know.
know if
We're
it
not
was
a
I don't know if it
sports
was
family,
Catholic.
so I don't understand it, but
I feel terrible. So, my own godfather, this is his absolute favorite movie, and anytime I would have a boyfriend, that was like a ritual. He had to like sit down and they had to watch Chariots of Fire. Admittedly, I don't know that I've ever watched it in its entirety because I would roll my eyes and go,
but
oh my
every
gosh.
boyfriend you
But
had
every boyfriend I
was
ever had to sit down and watch Chariots of Fire. So I used to
that's
think it
really
was
sweet.
Catholic, but he might just be Christian. He was in Cambridge. But yeah, that movie came out in like 1980s, 1981, something like
Okay,
that.
I
But
should
it
watch it.
was, yeah,
But I just
it's
thought it was interesting. I don't, maybe you should edit out this whole thing because I'm not like speaking on official church doctrine here about it. I do just think it's interesting to think through and discern and talk to your priest about these things, because it is like, yeah, Sunday has just become a whole nother day. And I remember we were talking about New Jersey earlier. In Texas, my whole childhood, everything was open on Sundays. But then I moved to New Jersey like 20 years ago, and stuff was still closed on Sundays.
yeah.
Did they change that eventually?
No, I don't know. Well, I've only been out of New Jersey 4 years, so I'm
But
assuming
was
not.
stuff closed
Stuff was closed
Sundays?
on Sundays. Oh yeah, it was very common for things to be closed on Sundays. And then even liquor stores, they had like a late start. Not everything was closed on Sundays, but a lot of family run things. But even liquor
Because I think
stores,
20 years ago it was a law
oh, a
still.
lot, a
Like,
lot.
I think
Yeah,
it was, like,
everything shut
illegal
down.
to be open, and
Yeah,
I
they
was like,
were.
"This is so funny," 'cause New Jersey isn't a particularly religious place, but
Yeah, I don't know. It was so they
they
had
had,
like
like,
blue
held on to
laws.
that.
They had blue laws, which were more, yeah, I'm going to butcher this, and not puritanical. It had to do with the sale of alcohol. And so,
Mm,
yeah, establishments that sold alcohol, like liquor licenses, if you had a liquor license, something like you couldn't open until noon, something like that. But
yeah,
yeah, I don't know how much of that is still, I'm not sure. But yeah, that was the rhythm of life, though. That was the rhythm of everything. Because if you owned a small business, if you owned a restaurant, you weren't working on Sunday because you were with your family and you were at church, or, it, and so your business wasn't open. But yeah,
right. So
yeah,
interesting. Yeah.
it is. And when you talk about raising kids and wanting to, whenever anyone says like, oh, my baby is so small, and it's really hard for me to bring them to mass, and they're obviously not getting anything out of it. Like, is it necessary that I bring them, or can I go and then my husband go, split up all that? And I've heard it explained so beautifully that even at that young age, they're hearing, they're smelling, their senses are just saturated with the mass and the rhythm of the mass and how beautiful that is, um, in their formation growing up. So even at a young age, it's something familiar, it's something home, and it's
Mhm.
something that guides them. Even if after that they never ever go back to church, they kind of like, I heard one woman say it, I don't, she's not Catholic now, but she said, oh, my great aunt used to take me. I remember this, and that those
There's something
familiar good
familiar, right.
feelings that come with it. And so there's such value in in saturating your environment. And
Yeah,
so being able to do that in your domestic church, being able to have that rhythm of your life, and now that secular culture has really removed it as much as possible, and it keeps eroding away, I think it's even more important that in your home you're giving you're giving your family, you're going against the grain and saying, no, we stop on Sundays, we don't,
right.
this is what we're doing. So we make sure Um, I kind of feel like we're at a point in culture where there's so many things that our parents maybe didn't pass down to us, and for many reasons, and not a lot even their own fault, but it wasn't necessarily passed down to them. So
Yep.
even homeschooling things and homesteading things and just how to do things for
Right.
ourselves, not always buying things and cooking things in a microwave, or you know what I mean, like not the quick and easy, but like the real from scratch kind of things that we don't know how to fix or create. I think it's the same way with the faith. I think there's a gap of uncatechized generation that now we're trying to pick it up and hand it down as we're picking it up. And so
Yes.
it's
Right.
it's a challenge, but we're
It
almost like
is.
going the opposite direction. Like we are so traditional and orthodox in my house.
Yeah. Well, one of my favorite priests, and he has been very instrumental in Catholic Family Crate, he always says, like, you have to create a culture at home that is more appealing than the outside culture. And they are trying to make the outside culture so appealing, right?
Yeah.
And so all these things that you're saying, like, they really do, and they will stick with your kids, and they will become core memories. And it will like become just things that they're like, oh, this was really great, like this was really exciting. And that's why I think as Catholics, and I think maybe especially um our parents' generation, like there was a lot of Advent and a lot of Lent,
Mm-hmm.
and then there was not like the celebrating.
There was the no
And
meats on Fridays.
right. Yeah. And so it was like, okay, we need to have the balance of like the church has times of fasting and the church has times of feasting.
Mm-hmm.
And those really, like when we really look at it, it's like those things are good for us. Like the things at the church, like taking a day of rest on Sunday, that's good for us. Like our bodies
Mm-hmm.
really need that. And now you have all these secular productivity experts that are like, oh, you need to pick a day for rest. And it's like, oh, how funny. The church has been teaching this forever.
You
Like
don't say.
all
Yeah.
these things, when we really think about it, it's like, or people that are really into fasting, right? For weight loss and health purposes and all this stuff. It's like the Catholic Church has been teaching this for centuries. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yes, we should not be feasting 365 days a year.
That's right.
So
That's
it's
right.
really cool to just kind of go and think through that and see like, oh wow, like the church really has all these guidelines, but they're for our good. And if we can
And not
pass
just
this
our
down
good
to our
spiritually.
children
Yeah.
and show that it's like fun to be Catholic and it's good and it makes you feel good and it is healthy for you and all that stuff, it just makes it much more appealing than like, here's all these sacrifices we're making over here.
That's
And
right.
everybody else is having a great time all the time.
There's that one meme I see all the time. It says, "Oh, you're making me suffer, but joke's on you. I'm Catholic." And I like that. We love that.
Yeah, I think I saw that too.
Big.
It's so good.
What's really important, and I want anyone, like, maybe the whole theme of this particular episode is, even if you don't have all of this knowledge about the church, about the liturgical seasons, and you're wanting to give it to your kids, it's totally doable. It's totally easy. It's totally possible. And I feel like you take a step like getting a Catholic Family Crate or buying a couple of the items that will help you, from the website, like the mass ring, those things that are just, maybe you see a challenge and I wish I could do this better. There are so many resources out there now for moms
Right.
and young families, dads and young families, to be able to pass it down even if you didn't have it. And so I think it's an amazing time of reversion for
Yes.
all ages. And I know even in my own parish, there's an older group of people, that were kind of holding it down at the parish. And then in South Carolina, there's a huge influx after COVID of just families from all over and that wanted, just a different kind of life. They were looking for something else, and especially looking for some more religious freedoms, looking for a true Catholic identity. And moving to South Carolina doesn't even sound like that's where the Catholics are, but that's where we came. So now,
Yeah.
like my own parish, which is St. Therese of Lisieux, Say
Oh,
Trace of the Little Flower, and we have our Zelly Guild and our Louis Martin Guild for the moms and dads, which is
oh,
super fun.
cool. Yeah.
Um, the older generation that's at the church, they're seeing like families, just this influx of families. And so now they are, what they've been running for years, like women's retreats, and we're coming in there and we're like, yeah, hey, let's like have fellowship and this multi-generational kind of just womanhood and sharing. And they're learning as much as we are. Like
Right.
um we have a big traditional swell in our church, and there's a lot of women who veil, and now the Columbiettes have adopted veiling, and now they give out free veils to anybody who, like, it's so
Oh,
sweet. And it is so beautiful to just watch the faith come alive in, not just, oh, we have a lot of people and we're really excited, but like everybody's like, oh, did you know this? Oh, did you hear about this devotional? Oh, can we do this one? Like everybody is just
right.
joyfully Catholic. And I think the kids are coming back in droves. So even, and maybe there's other places that are leaps and bounds above what we have, but we've had 30 kids for confirmation this year, but we had 30 kids come back from last year just to be part of youth group with the 30 kids making their
Oh,
confirmation this year. So it's like there's something good and beautiful, and
yes.
even teens are responding. And so I think, lots of lessons can be learned from that. But I certainly use a lot of Catholic Family Crate in our
Oh,
second grade
good.
classroom. And we're starting even a bookstore, a gift shop. There was one gift shop in downtown Charleston on King Street, a Catholic gift shop, and now it closed. But so our priest said, well, we're going to open a gift shop.
Okay,
And
well, you
so
have to make sure they stock Catholic Family Crate stuff.
we ordered it already through
Oh,
your
okay, good.
wholesale catalog. We're already on it. And
Okay, good.
yeah, no, I made sure that the mastering, and then we got the sticker books to start. So, but
Oh,
yeah,
good.
there's
Those are
so
so
many of the small businesses that started small, and now, I mean, I don't know if you would call yours a small business anymore.
well,
It's
it's still a small business by in grand scheme.
sure,
Very small.
sure.
Maybe for like a Catholic business, it's on the larger end, but
Well, I
yeah,
mean,
it's just been such a gift.
you've come a long way from, stuffing boxes in your own home, I'm sure,
Yes.
to
Right. Yeah.
sending them
We have a
out.
great fulfillment center. Praise the
That's
Lord for
right.
them.
That's right.
Yeah, it's so funny. I was thinking too, like when you were talking earlier about just the familiarity of like the smells and bringing them to church and stuff. I was just
Mhm.
talking to a friend who just converted. Her husband was Baptist. She was raised Presbyterian. And she was saying one of the things that they have loved so much is that they would have never thought to go to church while traveling when they were Presbyterian and Baptist.
Yes.
Like it just wasn't a thing. Like you just go to your church when you're at home, and you don't.
Mhm.
And so she was like, just the fact that like no matter where we go, every Catholic church is our home is so cool. And I was like,
It
yeah,
is.
you're right. Like, cause we just moved um like 30 minutes into the country. And so our parish is now, it was in the neighborhood and it's now a far drive or whatever. And we were just saying like it's like we've been there for 11 years, right? And we just get there. And even with a move and all that stuff, it feels like home because
Mhm.
it's like, where we are all the time.
Yeah.
But like, really, like, even if I went to visit your church, it would feel like home. Like, it would look a little different and people would be different. And if I go to church in India, it's like, it's going to be a little different, but it's still going to feel like home?
Mhm.
And I just thought that was so cool because I was like, you're right. Like, you can go into a Catholic church all over the world and like find similarities and know that like this is my home. Like,
Yeah.
I am welcome here.
On so many of the mom Facebook pages, especially with an influx of people to this area, they're asking, I'm looking for a church with this, this, and this. These are my bugaboos, or these are my wants for my kids, or whatever. And our last church didn't have that, and it's not. These are not Catholic families. And I was like, well, you might want to check out Saint Teresa. Like I was like, I know you're not Catholic, but you're always welcome. But
Yeah.
just the idea that anywhere we go, it's not a matter of finding the people, It's just, Jesus is there, and you can celebrate the mass because it's the same. The rhythm, the songs, the everything is going to be the same. And like you said, there's differences. There's cultural differences.
Right.
The way they play the song might be different, but it's still going to be,
Right.
the parts of
Language
the
might be
mass.
different, but you'll
Yeah.
still figure it
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
So I don't, there's not ever been a Catholic mom that I saw on any of these groups that are like, I'm looking for a parish. That no, you find your parish. You can go to,
Right.
there's like three of them around. You go, you check them out, and which one's closest, which one has kids your age, and Jesus is there. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm grateful to not have to shop around and have that be another mental load. Like,
Right.
I feel like so many other, and this is, me being joyfully fully Catholic, but I feel like any other denomination is struggling to recreate a lot that our faith just naturally has. And like you said, so much of what we have is for our good, spiritually and mentally and physically. And so when you're looking for something like, to give you mental clarity and have your body be healthy, and fasting's the key, you're like, well, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
The
I
early church
know.
fathers knew that it was part of, Jesus's faith growing up. Like, this is all,
I
we
know.
strayed too
It's
far. We
so
got to come back.
funny. It's really funny. Yeah. It's really funny. I
So I
love it.
know that you're a lovely Catholic family with this lovely Catholic business. You also give back in many ways through Catholic Family Crate. Do you want to talk about any of the any of the organizations you partner with or that you donate to?
Yes. So we partner with a maternity home in Dallas, and it's called In My Shoes. And I actually personally know, they were my roommates before I got married, the women who started it. And so it's very well ran, and they use their money very well. And so we give back to that group. In My Shoes is what it's called. And it's just a beautiful home in Dallas that is a safe place for homeless pregnant women, women who are, escaping abusive relationships, and just all the things. So they do beautiful work.
It's
Is that
it,
similar to Good Counsel, I
that's
imagine?
exactly what could get, yeah, Good
Okay.
Counsel. We have 4 homes in New York and New Jersey, and we do the same. And then what we've started to do now, we're in our 40th year of service, so we've been doing it a long time. Father Benedict Rochelle, uh, people know him often from
Yep.
EWTN, and he's one of our co-founders along with Chris Bell. And so it's been going on since 1985, and
Wow.
really it's blossomed. It's a beautiful mission, very rooted in the Catholic faith, and and yeah, and just that idea of motherhood. Um, Motherhood brings about all good things.
Yes.
Motherhood. And so we, in a culture that tells us you can't be a mother and be successful, or you don't, you're homeless, or you don't have money, then you can't have kids, or instead of solving some of these root problems that are facing women, we're kind of just pushing them to the side and saying,
Hmm.
just get rid of the pregnancy and I won't have to deal with any of the other problems you're facing. And so at Good Counsel, there's no restrictions whatsoever. If you have mental illness, if you have adverse diagnoses that you're dealing with, high risk pregnancies, if you have drug addiction, any kind of trauma, we have the capability and facilities for all. We never turn anyone away. That's kind of our slogan. We never ever turn any woman away.
Yeah.
But so in that, we also have kind of gained a voice in the pro-life movement. We have a lot of friends who have been in the well-known friends that have been in the movement for a long time, and so we try to also be that safety net for maternity homes across and in pregnancy crisis centers across the nation, and say, here we have a hotline that's 24/7, and we have a help website, and so you can find a maternity home like In Her Shoes on our website and get help there. So we're also a resource for any woman anywhere to find help. And so if you call our hotline, if you want to come in and you need, there are certain states that have restrictions, and or maternity homes that are smaller and have restrictions. Maybe they can't help a woman who has mental illnesses, and so helping a
Mm-hmm.
woman with a mental illness or a drug addiction and she's pregnant, there's a place for one of those things, not all of those things. And so in those cases, we can transport her. If she's willing to relocate, we can help her with transportation and have her
Oh,
relocate to one of our homes in New York and New Jersey. But usually, and we're great, and it's such a blessing, there are resources locally that we can just connect with, that we have a relationship with, and so we can make sure that she finds what she needs more locally. Especially in cases of abuse, or just anything where she's trying to stay a bit more hidden. We can bring her into our homes, and it's a safe space for that as well. And it's really, like in her shoes, the stepping stones, and just lifting her up in her motherhood, in her femininity, and all of what God's calling her
right.
to be successful, to continue her education. We have women who have started their own businesses. We have women who have gone on, and a lot of the jobs that they take are in nursing, or EMT, or just jobs where they're again paying it forward and helping others. And I think it's incredible when you give a woman just that little support, just that little push,
Yes.
to say you can do this, how she can just flourish and come alive, and then stop that generational cycle of abuse, of poverty, of homelessness. And she makes all the difference in the world for her children and future
Right.
generations. And
Yeah,
so I
that's
was really
beautiful.
excited to know that you're supporting something that's near and dear to our hearts. And so I'll make sure that we've gone through just our own people, which it's a small operation, but to kind of vet homes, and be sure that they're legitimate, still opening, still operating, and what their parameters are, so we can work well with them. So I'll make sure that In Her Shoes is on there, and so that we can work together. That would be really,
Yeah, because
really
I think
beautiful.
they came to Dallas originally because there wasn't anything in Dallas at
Mm,
all. And it was like, what? This is such a huge city with
yeah.
no maternity home.
Such a huge need,
Yeah.
and yet it's so underserved. And
Yeah.
it's
So I hope there's more now. I'm not sure exactly the pulse of the maternity homes in Dallas, but at the time it was like, there's nothing at all here.
and it really is. I remember when I figured it out, when I saw we had like a baby bottle drive at our parish, and I realized what that was, what that meant. I think I was pregnant at the time, and it kind of just hit me different. And so I was I said, well, this is like the answer to every problem that we have. Let's just pour into the moms, and then they're able to save their babies. Pour
Right.
into motherhood and support that instead of suppressing that, and acting like it's a hindrance or a burden. There's 28 in Texas. 28 we have up here in Texas. This is beautiful. So yeah, In My Shoes is on there. Yay, Dallas
Okay, good.
County, Texas. Yeah, there's a lot of resources now, which is really, really exciting. I forget the exact statistic because my recall is for numbers is terrible at it, but it was something like a 46% increase in how many, I think it was 46%. Yeah, it might have been 460 new homes. I'm not sure. So
Yeah.
there's a great increase in how many maternity homes have opened up recently. Heartbeat International is a group that tries to really support all pregnancy crisis centers and maternity homes, and just kind of advocate for them, and again be that network for them, and give them resources and tools. And anyway, and so they did a report, and like statistically the number of facilities open now is great. It's jumped up,
Yeah.
and it's
Wow.
meeting that need, especially post Roe, where everybody's saying, "Oh, now what is a woman going to do?" Well, now she can have a chance at standing on her own 2 feet. Now
Right.
she can have a chance at that family. Now she can have a chance at escaping the abuse, escaping the poverty, and so it's yeah, it's just totally necessary. And I'm thrilled to find out that my favorite Catholic company is also supporting my favorite mission.
Oh, good. We have a really fun sticker book, and it takes your child through the journey of Jesus's birth, and it's like a paint by number sticker book. So you have all the different numbers, and then you have a sticker page that you line up. And it's just kind of like a puzzle. Like, when you're all
Mhm.
together with the family and you don't know what to do, it's like everybody likes to sit around and work on a puzzle. And we have a new one actually that's coming out
Oh, yay.
at the end of the month, I believe. Anyways, so I brought them to a family reunion for like the kids to use. And then like I looked around and it was like we had a table of like 6-year-olds doing them and like a table of 30 and 40-year-olds doing them, and then the teenagers were doing them, and then the little kids
Yeah.
were doing them, and I'm like, it's like a puzzle. Like it's just like
Oh, yeah.
everybody likes, when you're all together, it's just nice to have something to do that you're working on, but like you can still talk and engage and stuff like that. So they've been really popular for like holiday get-togethers and stuff as well.
They're also
And
really quiet in the pews.
yes, yes, very quiet in the pew. They take an hour to complete. My sister, they go to like a Eastern Rite church, and
Mhm.
their mass is like 2 hours long,
Oh,
and she has
goodness.
3 little kids, and she's like, man, your sticker books are just saving our lives here. Getting the kids
Wow.
to sit for 2 hours. But um, we have a ton of free resources on our website too. So if you go to catholicfamilycrate.com, there's a section for freebies, and
Mhm.
there's seasonal stuff up. There's coloring pages of the saints. There's that building a Catholic culture at home worksheet that I talked about. So there's a ton of free resources up there. And
You have a great packet on reconciliation and First Holy Communion too. We use that in
yes,
our classroom as well.
that is great. We use that. It has actually, there's one page in there that I print out every time my son goes to confession,
Hmm.
and it just walks you through, and I use it myself.
Yeah.
It walks you through the steps of confession, so that they're not worried about like forgetting the order and this and that. And then it has a spot for their examination of conscience. And so that is a really great resource. But that whole document has tons of fun things. There's also one on baptism, which is
Hmm.
really fun, and it's really great to print out on a baptismal anniversary, or say you're going to a baptism of a friend or something, their baby. You could print that out to talk about baptism and the significance of it. And
Yeah, the resources are so generous. They're really well thought out and really great for planning. And I remember using them the Holy Week one during COVID when our churches in New Jersey were shut down, and so that was our big a huge step in our step up in our domestic church was having to kind of do everything like our church did at home. So we did all of the activities for Holy Week. I actually had a big palm plant, and the kids we cut out things and we did our own like hosanna with palm branches, and
yes,
we had the coloring sheets, and we did our own oh, I remember before Easter, that's when we started covering all of our statues and pictures, like the church does for
yeah,
Lent in the Triduum when you cover all the statues,
yeah.
and so it just all of those things, bringing it truly home during that time. Now they're like my kids' favorite things, kind of like when you put baby Jesus in the manger on Christmas morning.
Yes,
um so I have a collection of them, so the kids all run and get the baby Jesuses and put them in the
and put
mangers.
them all
But
in.
like on Easter we uncover all of our pictures, all of our holy pictures, and
Oh.
crucifixes and stuff, and so that's exciting. But yeah,
Yeah,
so
that
the
Holy Week kit is our most popular download. I
yeah.
think it's probably been downloaded like 30,000 times or something.
Oh,
But
I bet.
yeah, that one is a really good one. And then there's one on the Jesse tree. The other one that is super helpful is we have a 12 days of Christmas planner,
Hmm.
and it has an activity packet plus like a planning component. So that would be super helpful to sit down with and just kind of pray about like how can we really reserve Christmas for Christmas,
Mm.
and what can we do during this season. And there's like a fun like Christmas light scavenger hunt on there, and there's some really fun things in that one. So that one's a popular seasonal one as well.
We've been printing out the domestic church one for our parents of the faith formation class, just to kind of like
Oh,
give them
good.
tips and encourage them. And then if obviously your website's on there. And so yeah.
That's
We're all
great.
in.
Yeah, it is. All of our free stuff is you're welcome to use for co-ops and classes and church and all that kind of stuff. So um, those are for people to use and to
Yeah.
distribute as they need.
Yeah. It's great to have it all in one spot. So thank
Yes.
you for making it all very easy for us Catholic parents
Just because
to
I'm
live
an overwhelmed
liturgically.
mom myself, so I'm like, okay, how can we make this easier?
That's
That's
right.
like why the
That's right.
crafts, I'm like, the crafts are not intense crafts. They are
No,
simple
I'm so
crafts. They
grateful.
are not gonna have glitter or make your house a disaster.
Require any skill at all. It's great.
Right. Yes. Very simple, easy things. Even the busiest of families could use them.
That's right. That's right. Well, thank you so much for spending time with me today.
Well, thanks for having me, Sam. Y'all keep up the good work. I'll keep y'all in my prayers.
Thank you. And you too. I look forward to all the new stuff coming out and we're big fans and we'll keep spreading the word.
Oh, good. Thank you so much.
If a woman is pregnant, she shouldn't have to worry about how she's going to carry, deliver, and care for her child. She can call Good Counsel. We need you to help spread the good news that Good Counsel's doors are open for all women, pregnant and parenting, and in need. Please join us and be an advocate for motherhood. Subscribe to our podcast, Motherhood and, on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Please be sure to visit Good Counsel's website for more information and to get involved at goodcounselhomes.org. We ask that you share our maternity help website, help.goodcounselhomes.org. Please share this website with others often so that it will reach more women in need. Subscribe to Good Counsel's YouTube channel for more inspiring and edifying content about maternity homes, the pro-life movement, and the life and ministry of Good Counsel's founder, Father Benedict Groeschel. And be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Good Counsel Homes. If you have any questions or ideas for future guests or topics, please message us on Facebook or Instagram. Remember, life is love. Talk to you soon.